Thank you, Speaker. My question's to the Minister for Climate Change and Energy. Why is the rollout of renewables and storage in this decade so important? What other energy policies have been proposed?
Call to the Minister for Climate Change and Energy.
Well, thanks very much, Mr Speaker. I thank my honourable friend for her question and, of course, her very strong climate leadership in her electorate and here in Canberra. And she knows, the honourable member knows, as do experts and the Australian Energy Regulator and the Australian Energy Market Operator and so many others, that rolling out renewables and storage over this decade is critical, not just for reducing emissions in this vital decade, but because it's the cheapest form of energy available. Therefore, it puts downward pressure on bills, and it's important for jobs and job creation. And also, Mr Speaker, it's very important for reliability. As coal-fired power stations get older, we need to replace them. It's very important for reliability. Now, as I said, that is why it's important that our 5.9 gigawatts of new renewable energy over the last year and record storage deployment has been rolled out. Now, the honourable member asked me about alternative approaches, and the alternative approach that's been proposed by those opposite is nuclear. Now, nuclear might have some other challenges in rolling out across the country. Now, the Leader of the Opposition has been saying recently that business needs to speak up, business needs to talk out. The Leader of the Opposition said, "I think CEOs have a moral obligation to speak up about what's happening in the economy." Well, based on the previous answer, he believes that unless they disagree with him. And I might have some bad news for the Leader of the Opposition, because the Chief Executive of one of Australia's largest energy companies, AGL, was asked about nuclear recently. And he said, and I quote, "The cost, build time and public opinion are all prohibitive on nuclear." And then we had one of the country's largest energy users, Tomago Smelter, in the Hunter, asked about nuclear. And Mr Sevelraj of Rio Tinto said, "As far as we can see, all validated and independent data that exists on cost today say that nuclear is a very expensive source of energy, and I think in Australia certainly we've got low-cost wind and solar, and we're going to run with that." So you've got one of the country's largest energy suppliers and one of the country's largest energy users saying it takes too long. Now, Mr Speaker, that's before we even get to where they will go and the location. We've had those 12 brave souls say not in their electorate, and we've also seen a speculation there'll be a nuclear power station at Anglesea in Victoria. But the Leader of the Opposition's office cleaned that up on the Surf Coast Times on the weekend. I read it every weekend. And the Leader of the Opposition's office issued a statement which said, and I quote, "Attempts to suggest the coalition has any sort of nuclear plan are irresponsible and incorrect." So there we go. Any sort of nuclear plan is irresponsible and incorrect. Maybe they got it right, because they've got a thought bubble, but they certainly don't have a plan.